Hey, welcome back to the Keep Standing podcast. So grateful to have you joining us. Listen, I want to take just a quick moment and say to you, thank you. This has been an incredible season, and I want you to know how grateful I am for you listening, leaning in, and for you kind of allowing me to be a voice of encouragement to you and your leadership journey. As always, don't forget, if this podcast has helped to pour into you and been a help to you in this season of your life, do me a real big favor. Make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Most importantly, share this with your friends and others who are in your leadership circle. We don't just want to work in cliques. We want to work in connection. We want to create more conversation and community. Now, I know that you have got a lot going on. You're leading in a number of different, multiple arenas of your life. But today, I want to take some time to invite you to do something that's real necessary for every leader, to slow down, to take a moment to just reflect, to think back through how things have impacted you and how you've grown. This is the final episode of Season 1. And before we move forward, let's take a minute to look back, because so much of what we have experienced over this journey, I think, has been a big benefit and worked together to help strengthen us. This one's from the heart. This particular one I want to share today. Now, remember, first of all, some of the challenges you've already survived. Every good leader, again, needs to take time to pause and reflect. I mean, let's be honest, you've been carrying a lot. And it's not just the visible stuff either. It's not the things that people can see on the surface. You've been leading in public, but the whole time we've all been doing our best to heal in private. I know you've been smiling for the room while you're sitting out in the car praying before you enter. And through all of that, you keep on standing. You don't just survive through leading. You survived through the tension of the process. The tension of leading when you feel empty, staying faithful when nobody really says thank you for the work that you've done. The tension of believing God while still kind of battling the doubt that you're wrestling with. Don't rush past that. You survived a whole lot, and that's your testimony. And it's also part of your growth. You didn't just keep going either. You kept becoming who you are. And there's so much more yet to be discovered. And that's why I want to tell you today that the assignment, it's still on you. Bible says in Galatians 6:9, let us not grow weary in doing good. One translation says in well-doing. And in the words of my friend Brian Courtney Wilson, remember this, God is doing a great work in you. Now, I want to talk about carrying what you've gained. Let's take a moment and let's kind of gather the fruit of this season. In the episode on emotional intelligence, we said that leadership doesn't fall apart from a lack of talent. It falls apart from being unhealed emotion. You learned how to pause, right? How to pray and how to process while still projecting what you believe. Keep doing that. Because in the episode on relationships that mattered, we learned that people may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. You can't lead the people you don't love. And you can't love people well without showing up consistently. In the episode on self-care, which was a pivotal one for all of us, I know, we declared that rest isn't weakness. It's actually a form of worship. God doesn't want a burned out version of you. God wants the whole you, the one that's rested, restored, and rooted appropriately. And in what you do see, we learned how to look forward. Remember, vision is not optional. It's not something you tag on to who you are. It's literally oxygen to the call on your life. You've not just been called to build a platform, you're called to build people, to lead with clarity, to speak what you see before others even understand it. Now, take those lessons and don't just feel them. I want you to use them. Carry them into your next season. They're not just podcasts for you to be listened to. They're actually spiritual practices for you to put in place. Here's the truth. Nobody wants to say this piece, and that is momentum doesn't maintain itself. You can lose what God gave you by not protecting it appropriately. So as this season closes, I want to challenge you to guard these things. Number one, the word. No surprise there. Every idea, every decision flows from how you think. And how you think comes from how you have allowed yourself to be consumed by God's word. If the enemy can corrupt your clarity, then he can cloud your calling. Then your circle. You can't afford casual proximity to toxic people. Let me say that one more time. You can't afford casual proximity to toxic people. Elevation requires evaluation. Who's going with you? Then why? There's that question. Don't get to this point where you're consistently consumed in this algorithm by applause or analytics. Get rooted in your purpose, your why. That's what's going to sustain you when you ultimately, and it comes, feel the breakdown season. As the old saints would say, don't get weary now. Keep going. Let's tell the truth. Leadership hasn't just been a title. It's been a test, if we're honest. And sometimes we're so focused on the future that we forget to thank God for the fact that we've made it through. You made it through seasons where maybe your name wasn't called, but your faith was put to the test. Through months where maybe the budget didn't necessarily match the burden, and through times where the meetings oftentimes left you questioning if you were really called to this. And through moments where quitting felt kind of more faithful than actually continuing. But you didn't quit. You didn't stop. You didn't fold. You didn't snap. You know what you did? You kept standing. And the late nights, those anxious mornings, the kind of lonely decisions, those tough conversations, those internal wars kind of between faith and fear, that's what helped to shape you. And that's what does shape each of us. And I need you to hear this. None of that was wasted. Some people only see platforms. They only see when the lights are on. But what they don't know is your process. Every leader who's been through any type of growth in life can testify that the process that produces who you are authentically doesn't happen on stage or in front of the lights, in crowds, or even in groups. It happens in the quietness, the times that we have to endure behind the scenes. But you know that God knows, and that means that it deserves to be honored. So honor the versions of you who said yes when everything in you wanted to say no. Honor the you that showed up, even when no one clapped. And honor the journey, not just the destination of where you are. Because it's not just what you've built, it's what God built in you and what God is building in you. Let me talk to the faith leader, the teacher, the coach, the creative, that nonprofit leader, that business builder, that entrepreneur in you, who's got a calling, and it's not a brand strategy. You know it's sacred ground. And if you don't treat it like it's sacred, then the pressure will ultimately make you sloppy. You can speak and proclaim and declare a real polished message and still have not really heard correctly from God. You can manage a team. You can build groups together that accomplish great things and still miss your assignment. You can even grow a platform where thousands of people are locked in on you, and then ultimately still be shrinking in character. Because being a leader isn't just about what you do, it's about who you're becoming while you do it. This podcast season reminded us that leadership is prophetic. It's a spiritual calling, and it's holy ground. So we've got to take our shoes off, get low again, and learn how important it is to seek God. We don't need more curated personas. We need consecrated vessels. And I'm convinced God is calling us to walk heavy with humility, to speak truth, even when it's inconvenient, to protect their time like it's oil on their life, and to lead like someone's breakthrough depends on your work, because it does. So as you prepare for what's next, I dare you, don't just chase impact, pursue intimacy. That's what really makes the difference. Don't just amplify your voice so that others can hear you. Turn the volume up on your surrender to your calling. Don't just lead with excellence, although you should, but lead with reverence for what's on your life. Because when you lead like it's sacred, you never run out of strength. Why? Because sacred leaders don't just pour from talent, they pour from trust. All right. Well, before we wrap up this season, I don't want to just give you more information. I want to leave you with some questions that can kind of serve as mirrors for you. I mean, real talk now. I need you to check in with your own spirit. These are the kind of questions that are going to help you go through the process of becoming. Because the best leaders don't just ask others good questions. They ask themselves the right ones. You ready? Here they are. 5 questions I want you to carry into the pause between seasons. Here's the first one. What vision are you carrying that still scares you? And why haven't you said it out loud yet? It's all right to have a big vision. In fact, you should. Remember, Stephen Furtick says that if your vision isn't a little intimidating to you, there's a good chance it's insulting to God. Secondly, who in your circle is really sharpening you? I mean, take a look around the virtual space in your life. Who's there? Who's showing up? And who's giving you the feedback you need? And then ask yourself, who in that circle is dulling your edge? You need people who sharpen you and need to also make some real tough decisions that the ones who are causing some dullness don't get continual access to you. Who you are, your time, and your preparation is valuable. Number 3, are you leading from conviction or is it just convenience? You know, I mean, is it because something in you is burning? Because you heard a voice speak to you? Or is it because, in this particular time in my life, this is just kind of what works for me. What works and what feels good has nothing to do with what satisfies you. Because oftentimes the greatest callings come with a great deal of inconvenience. Number 4, what's the one thing you need to stop doing to become a more authentic leader? This is critical because we've got to make sure that we're working on that self-evaluation, that you're continually looking at yourself and saying, what are some of the rhythms that are not actually good for me? What are the type of flows in my life that are really kind of draining me or not allowing me to be able to fully be present? What are some things behaviorally that I got to be honest enough to tell myself is distracting me from my calling? Look inside of yourself, because after all, everybody is real clear about some of the judgments they want to make about you. Number 5, here it is. How is your soul doing? I mean, really, how's your soul doing? And then what will you do to care for it in this season? What are some of those things that, that you're putting in you that are helping to bring joy to your life, that make you feel good and whole and confident? What are those things? Name them, number them, because you need more of those to ensure that you're fully present, whole, and confident for where God's calling you. These aren't just journal prompts. These aren't just things I want you to use before you lie down tonight or when you wake up in the morning. This is a part of the soul work you must do, because your next level of leadership will only rise to the level of your honesty. I've had to do this a number of times. Unfortunate part about leading is that oftentimes people don't always tell you the truth about you because they like the version of you that gives them access and opportunity. You got to be willing to be honest with yourself. Maybe this is a tough season for you. Maybe this is an empty season. Maybe this is a season where you're just not as clear as you used to be. Tell the truth to yourself and then do what's ever necessary to kind of help pour back in, replenish, restore, and get you back on the right track. Don't just build the vision, do the hard work to build the vessel. What's important is you and how you carry what you're called to do forward. Well, as we bring this season to a close, I want you to remember to do a couple things. Stand strong, even when the winds blow, because they will. And sometimes they're going to blow with hurricane force. Stand still when God says wait, because patience is mandatory. And then stand tall, because your posture is prophetic. Let me tell you, leadership's not easy. Never has been, never will be. It's tough work, and it's going to test your strength. But your resolve has got to be becoming stronger and better as a leader, and more importantly, so that your character testifies to it. But we both know that you didn't come this far to give up now. That's one of the best lessons I ever learned. It's kind of my secret sauce for everything I face in life. When I was 9 years old, I once was playing on a soccer team. I played everything. When it was time for football season to end, I went straight into basketball season. When basketball season was over, I went straight into soccer. When soccer season was over, we went into baseball, and so forth and so on, always. And my mom had to always take me to everything. I'll never forget when I was 9 years old, I wasn't in the position that I wanted to be. They moved me from the center. If you know about soccer, you know the center position really kind of gets a lot of shine, scores a lot of goals. And so that day after practice, I came, got in the car and said, I'm done. I'm not playing anymore. My mom turned around and said, Oh no. If you began this, you're going to finish it. You never quit what you start, because if you do now, you'll be doing it for the rest of your life whenever it gets tough. So I want to encourage you, don't give up now. Don't you quit. You've come too far to stop now. And besides, you don't know what transitions are right around the corner for you. And then remember that you're not out here alone. You're not by yourself. We're part of a community. And we all have a responsibility to help support and build one another up. Regardless of how things may look, you need to know that you're not forgotten, no matter where you serve, how you serve, or what your position might be. And always remember to always give your very best, because you're not going to give up. You're going to see this through. So, this is what I want you to do. Revisit what stirred you, reflect on what stretched you, and then recommit to what still sets your soul on fire. Keep healing, keep growing, keep leading. And above all, until next time, keep standing.